Okay, we are back. We're going to learn chapter 38 in Tanya. And the discussion today would focus primarily on hidden love. Yesterday we ended off with the importance of proper intent when performing a commandment, and the action like mitzvah is God will, performing and doing it with intent is also God will. But today we'll discuss the continuation of yesterday. In today's lesson, devotion born from intellectually stimulated emotion is human-like, while one inspired by an instinctive love and awe of God is animal-like. So you can arouse two types of love: instinctive love, and you can have one that is intellectually inspired, one that you have generated. The one that you generated is through meditation, contemplation, and the like. And the one that we're calling it instinctive is the one that you were born with, your inheritance given to you by the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Alter Rebbe now goes on to discuss two levels in kavana, in mindfulness, intent. The higher one of which is comparable to the soul of man, and the lower one compare to the soul of animals. You have soul of man and soul of animals. The higher level of mindfulness, intent, is connected with the soul, and the lower level of mindfulness is connected with like a soul of animal. Like someone that has a person discerning enough intellect to know God and to reflect on His greatness, and to create out of his understanding a lofty fear in his mind and a love of God in the right part of his heart, the seat of the divine soul's emotions, so that his soul thirsts for God, seeking to cleave to God, by fulfilling the Torah mitzvahs, which are the extension and illumination of the infinite light of God upon one's soul, by which one may cleave to Him. So he's using, by the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs, to draw down the infinite light of God on himself, and that which enables him to cleave to Him. And with this, when he studies Torah and fulfills the mitzvahs, it is with this intention, with this mindfulness, to cleave to Him, simply to cleave to God. That's his intent. When he studies Torah and fulfills the mitzvahs, it is with this kavanah. It is likewise when he prays and he recites blessings. It is with the kavanah of cleaving to God, whose greatness he has come to understand. Now, what is this intent? Such kavanah, such mindfulness, intent, is analogous to the soul of a human being who possesses intelligence and freedom of choice, and who speaks with wisdom. For such kavanah is likewise based on intellect and choice. The second level of kavanah is that of a person that daitok tzoro, which is his understanding is too limited. Everyone's understanding is limited, but daitok tzoro means that his understanding is too limited to know and to reflect on the greatness of the blessed Ein Sof. So to contemplate enough that his contemplation would lead to a revealed love in his heart, and also awe in his mind, and dread of God in his heart. His level of understanding is inadequate to create a palpable spiritual emotion. It's not strong enough to create a spiritual emotion. So since one's observance of the mitzvahs is contingent on love of God, and refraining from sin is contingent on fear of God, how can one who cannot evoke these emotions because of his limited understanding fulfill the Torah mitzvahs? What motivates him to do it? We have these two motivations, two propelling powers. One is love, that enables us to do the commandments, to fulfill the commandments, Torah mitzvahs. And the second one is fear, that we are afraid to sin.
Mm-hmm.
So love and fear are crucial. And if someone doesn't have it, then what motivates him? To answer this, the Alter Rebbe tells us what motivates this person. It merely recalls and arouses the natural love hidden in his heart. And he is able to bring it out from concealment. So his dormanted love, innate love that is in his heart, is taken out and brings it out of concealment in his heart to a state of consciousness in his mind, at least in his mind, which to bring it from mind to emotions is another level, but at least he's able to have it in his mind. Even if he cannot arouse a revealed feeling of love in his heart, surely he can summon it to mental consciousness. So that his will and his mind and in the recesses of his heart should approve and consent with complete willingness and perfect sincerity. To surrender his life in martyrdom, in actual fact, not merely as a figure of speech, for his affirmation of the unity of God, rejecting belief in any other divinity. In order to attach him, his divine soul, and its garments of thought, speech, and action, and to unite them with his unity. Which is identical to the supernal will that is clothed in Torah study and performance of the mitzvahs as explained above. So just like martyrdom, one who is willing to sacrifice his life, like martyrdom that one undergoes out of love for God, study of the Torah, performance of the mitzvahs, unite the soul with God. Therefore, one's arousal of his natural love of God to the point where he is prepared to offer his life for God's unity will also motivate him to fulfill Torah mitzvah. So he simply has to say, he's saying to himself, if I'm willing to give my life for God, how much more so that I'm willing to do Torah mitzvahs, which is much easier than giving up his life. So this love is also has within it also fear. This natural love also comprises fear of God, acceptance of his will, or acceptance of his dominion, so as not to rebel against him, against God, God forbid, through sin. With this intention, when motivated by this kavanah, which is born of his innate love, fear, of his innate love and fear of God, which we said both are together, one turns away from evil by refraining from sin, and does good by observing the mitzvahs, and studies, prays, and recites the blessings. Thinking merely of the meaning of the words without conscious love and fear of God in his heart and mind, which would lend emotional intensity to his prayer. Lacking revealed love and fear, he prays only with the meaning of the words when one fulfills the Torah in this manner. This level of kavanah, this level of mindfulness, is analogous to the soul of an animal which possesses neither intelligence nor free freedom of choice. And everything that he has, and whose emotions, its fear of harmful things, and its love of pleasing things, are merely natural to it. It's a natural instinct. It's not something that he contemplated, oh, I like this because A, B, and C. I don't like A, B, and C because I'm afraid of it. And I like A, B, and C because it brings me pleasure. Natural. It's instinct. Nothing, no thinking behind it. Not a product of its intelligence or understanding. So too, by way of example, are the natural love and fear hidden in the heart of every Jew. They too are not a product of intelligence of choice. You're born a Jew, you have no choice. You have within you love of God, fear of God. It's embedded, it's in your DNA. Why? For their inheritance from our patriarchs. Your grandfather had it, and your great-grandfather had it. It goes all the way to Avraham Avinu, to the patriarch Abraham. And they are like natural instinct in our soul. Kaniz Kalel is mentioned in chapter 18. So to summarize, both performance and both the performance and the kavanah and the mindfulness and the intent of mitzvahs are divided into two categories. The two levels in performance, the body of the mitzvahs, are analogies to the two classes of body: creatures, inanimate beings, and plants. They are A, mitzvahs performed with action, and B, mitzvahs performed through speech and thought. Action and speech and thought. Now, the two levels in kavanah, the soul of the mitzvahs, correspond to the two classes of soul: creatures, animals, and men. They are A, kavanah generated by one's intellectual contemplation of godliness. That's the level of human. And kavanah arising from one's natural love and fear of God, that's the level of animal, or analogies to an animal. So the takeaway from today's essay: you might not be able to arouse heart-stirring love for God before performing a commandment. Maybe you won't be able to do it, but you can just recall and reveal the hidden love you have towards God. Recall that at your core is a divine spark that constantly and eternally desires nothing but God. Bruchim Tiyu. We'll have another short video of daily Parsha and Geula and Ein Yaakov. See you soon.